Welcome to Wood and Work podcast. I am Josh Taylor from Josh Taylor Woodworking, and this is Paul from JCR Joinery. Welcome back, guys. Right, Paul, where are we
How
today?
are you doing, Paul? You alright? So,
Yeah, well,
just thought this week maybe, because obviously we've covered quite a lot of topics over the last couple of weeks, we could just have a bit of a general chat about projects we're doing at the minute, work we're doing, and just more of a generalised, what projects you're doing. So you said you're off.
yeah,
You're back off onto site early tomorrow, are you? You said.
yeah, back onto site. What am I doing at the moment? I'm framing out a big house by the beach in Sydney. Nice, lovely house, about $20 million. Huge build. Done the roof framing, but I'm getting moved from there, which is not unfortunate. And then we're going to frame another house out a bit further north of Sydney.
You're all timber framed. You're all timber framed, sorry, aren't you? In Australia, you're all timber framed. Not like the conventional brick houses we have in the UK. You're all timber framed and cladded, isn't it?
Yeah. I've noticed. I kind of forgot that because I've been here so long. But yeah, everything's timber frame, and then they're just clad on the outside. It's just almost like someone said to me, they're glorified tents.
It's how we build man sheds in this country, isn't it? In the garden shed, like one of the garden, down the bottom of the garden, let's build a nice posh shed. And that's. But I think it's to do with the weather a little of that as well, because obviously the climate's a lot different down there to the UK. Because obviously wood movement here would be horrendous on a timber frame. I mean, they actually built the timber framed house round the corner. You would have seen it as you would have drove past it when you came to ours, a new build on the thing, and you could actually see as they were putting the dormers up in the roof. You could actually see, because they left it for a couple of months over the winter, you could see everything had moved and split apart. It was horrendous.
Oh man. Yeah, there's actually a shortage of bricklayers out here, so
right.
I think that's a big reason why they do so much timber framing, because it's such hard work, especially in the heat. And they get paid a lot of money, bricklayers. I think they're on $65 an hour, $70.
So what's that compared to, maybe, say, what's a carpenter on? Because obviously, with currencies and living costs, everything is relevant, isn't it?
Carpenters 55, brickies are 65, 70. So that's what, 35, 40 quid an hour. Which is not bad.
It's interesting. I mean, it is interesting with how the different sites, but obviously, I suppose it goes a little bit with the demand, doesn't it? If the bricklayers are in short demand and people want them, people like developers will pay a premium price for them, won't they?
Yeah. Because before I left England, some people used to pay by the brick. I think it was like 50p a brick before I left. But I don't know how. Do you know any much about that?
It's been a long time since I've been on the site with bricks. I mean, I'm talking 15 years since I've done that sort of. Since I've been on that sort of job. Obviously, I don't get involved in the construction side and the structural side of stuff anymore. I just like to be more of a finished carpentry. But yeah, quite often what they used to do is do by the square metre. So, as you know, obviously a bricklayer, a square metre is however, obviously is a metre squared. So obviously a brickie will know that he'll get however many, I don't know, he might think, oh, I know I get 100 bricks per square metre, I don't know what it is, but, so they'll know themselves that, so it's the same sort of thing, isn't it? They'll say, it's the same, I suppose, when you're like laying a floor. I'll go, it's 12 square metres, it's X amount per square metre, therefore the cost is this. Same sort of thing, isn't it? It's just a nice, easy way of pricing a job sometimes, is by square meterage or per brick rather than per hour or per day, or it's a little bit different, I suppose, just a different. It's the good old price versus day rate.
Yeah, that's it. So what you got going on in the shop, mate?
What have I been on with this week?
How's it going?
Finished the chessboard that I was working on last week. That's now all dried, finished and tucked away.
Looks good.
I've just done a headboard. I had one of my clients, I built a table frame for a client out of solid white American oak a while ago. He'd built like a resin river tabletop, and he wasn't a joiner, he was just an enthusiast, should we say. And he wanted me to build a frame, so I built him a solid wooden frame for that resin table. Anyway, not long after he'd finished the job, and he had this piece of rough sawn white oak left over because he bought, like, say, 5 or 6 big slabs, and he only used 3 or 4 of them for the different jobs that he had to do, because he did like a breakfast bar and a few other bits. And he sent me a message, "Oh, do you know anybody who wants this big piece of timber?" I mean, it's 2.7 metres by 500, 2 inches thick.
Did it fit in the van?
Yeah, it's just about. It's just long enough, like. Luckily, the loading in my van's 3.5 metres, so I was okay. But so he said, I don't know, thinking, because it's a few £100 worth of piece of oak. And he just said, just call it 30 quid, mate, because it's just taking up space in the garage. I like, score. Okay. So I bought it, not knowing what I was going to do with it. It was water damaged, it had quite a lot of water damage on it. It did have some nasty knots in it and a nasty split in it. So it wasn't really usable for... Not that it wasn't usable, it had its limitations to what you could use it for, if you get me, because obviously... So, yeah, I've just basically sanded it all back this week, and I've actually done a plywood, because I like doing the pattern ply. So I did an inlay as a bow tie on the split. Because it's not structure, I don't need a bow tie, it's going on the wall. So I made it into a headboard for our bedroom. So I've done. So that was a really, really other bit where obviously something like a brick or something had been dropped on the piece of wood, so it had a big dent in it. So I wasn't going to be able to get that out. So again, I did another little inlay where the dent was, and then further down, just to balance it up, there was a big nasty knot. And I mean, I could have resined the knot up, but it would have probably had been like tennis ball size. It was a really badly split, crap knot. So again, I just chopped it out and put another bit of pattern ply in there. So I've just finished that. That's now done. Ready to go, hung on the wall now. So I just need to decorate that wall, get that done. I've made some Kumiko jigs last week. Made them last weekend. So I'm going to try Kumiko this year. As I mentioned it on the podcast last week. I'm basically going to make a Kumiko frame into a planter. I've got a call with it. I'm actually speaking to a local developer the other day. Actually, going to speak to him shortly. He's got a load of stud work he wants doing. So internal framing, same as like what you're doing, but for internal walls. So I think I'm going to go and drop onto that this week. Because my work's got a bit dried up a little bit at the minute, so which is unlike me for this time of year. Normally, when everyone else is quiet in the UK, it tends to be December, January, February, and I'm absolutely rammed. But I think a lot of that's to do with the like the cost of living and increased prices and everything everywhere. That's had quite a negative effect. Yeah, it's had a bit of a negative effect on me, but you just make use of the time. Do what you do. I mean, obviously, I've also got my river table actually. So the surfacing bit that I'm getting from Bits and Bits Company. Yeah, thank you very much for sending me that out. That should be with me on Tuesday or Wednesday, I believe the tracking says. Coming over from the States. So hopefully, back end of this week, I'm gonna get that surfaced out, and then I can concentrate on getting that out of the pouring room, which is in fact the guest bedroom. So our single box bedroom is a pouring room at the minute. How's your table coming on? Because you were working on your table. I saw you'd done a top up pour the other week, haven't you? Was it last week or the week before, maybe?
Yeah, my table I've sent off to get flattened to Living Timber Co. They're putting it on a CNC. He hasn't actually contacted me, so I'm going to get back to him. And he's going to do the filming for me. So he's going to actually film it being...
Too much Run Stone content for nothing.
I've talked him into it. He said, "Yeah, I'll do it with 3 different cameras." And I was like, "Yeah, thanks." Probably going to cost me a little bit extra, but just so I wanted to kind of do it myself, like film it while I was there. But he's got so much on, and it's always being used his CNC. So Yeah. What did you put a fan on yours when you poured yours? Because it's cold in England, right?
Yeah, well,
No, you didn't.
I used a so I used Vista resin. I used the Marina one, which is actually meant to be for like extremely deep pours. So I think you can pour up to like three
Yeah.
inches at a time. Now, even though the majority of mine was only actually an inch. The river itself's only an inch deep. So it's obviously a very very slow set epoxy compared to the shallow pour ones. So I didn't actually notice. I didn't put a fan on it. I literally poured it, one pour. I think it was about 16 or 17 kilos. I poured. I literally poured it, and then had about 3 air bubbles to pop, and that was it. I was expecting quite a lot with the blowtorch, and there was literally 3 little air bubbles. I just got them with a toothpick. Job done. And I just closed the door and left it. Didn't look at it, and it was absolutely perfect. There's no sort of because when it gets too hot, it goes like a bit of like a misty fog colour, doesn't it? Almost like the ecothermic reaction into it can damage it.
Yeah, it's like a white foamy stuff comes on top
It
over
was
here.
absolutely fine, but again, maybe it was to do with the temperature because obviously it was only so when I poured it, it was so I turned the heating off in the bedroom to make sure that it was a little bit
Yeah.
not not
Cool.
not as warm in there. Because that room does get very warm being so small. Um, but yeah, I just literally turned it off at about 3-4 degrees Celsius. So not warm at all in the slightest.
Yeah. Yeah,
Um,
you won't get no cracking with them
no,
temperatures.
so yeah, no,
Yeah,
I just
good.
literally poured. I mean, it was something I had thought about. I was almost a little concerned about. Don't get me wrong, but it was fine. Um, I did have one very small leak on it, which I noticed as I was pouring, because I'd put a tarpaulin down in the room as well, just in case.
How did you sort the leak
So
out?
literally, my melamine board that I used as the form, I'd also been
Yeah.
using it on for displaying some items like the clocks and all that I've been making for the actual photos and social media. So I had a few screw holes in it, and I forgot about it. The screw hole, basically. So as I was pouring it, because I put a tarpaulin down, it was like drip, drips like I can hear something. Shit, shit, shit. And I looked down, and so I just got a bit of packing tape, just normal plastic 2-inch packing tape. Stuck a bit on, 3 or 4 little pieces over the hole. Job done. It's fine.
Oh no.
So
What about how did you mix up? Did you just like hand or paddle?
I just got a pad. I got a paddle for my little cordless drill, and so I've actually got a little
Oh yeah.
tiny 10-volt DeWalt drill. So obviously it hasn't got a lot of power with it being such a small drill. So I use that. Because I was thinking if I use one of the Festool 18 volts, it'll be so fast it could end up creating a lot of air bubbles or something in the mixture. So I just
Yeah,
went nice and
that's what
slow,
I must have done.
mixed it for about 5 or 6 minutes.
Yeah,
Every now and
yeah,
again,
yeah,
a stick. I just went around like the outside of the bucket just to make sure that there was nothing stuck
yeah.
there. And then I didn't pour the last maybe 10 mil at the bottom of the bucket. I left that in there. So, because my thinking was, if anything wasn't mixed properly, it would have been at the bottom, just sat there, stuck to the bottom almost. So I
Yeah.
left that in there, thinking, because that was going to be the bit that wasn't going to get mixed properly. Was the bit that was touching the bottom, if anywhere. I felt, and I thought, for safety's sake, I don't want to pour that um, into the thing, and then it have like clumps or something, and then it. Because obviously, if it's not mixed properly, it doesn't set the same, does it? And doesn't set properly.
No.
So
So what did you just leave that out
I just
or
literally left it in the bucket, mate, and it's still in the bucket in there. Just didn't bother with it.
hot?
So I'll just
Yeah,
next time I want to use the
like,
bucket for another pour or whatever, I'll just knock out the bottom. I'll just knock it out. If it doesn't come out, we can stay in there for the mix. It's fine.
Yeah, why
Yeah,
not?
actually, the other thing, I've actually got another port. I got these the other day. So I went down to my local hardwood place, as well. PV Hardwoods. I've had a lot of stuff off him recently. That's where I got the wood for our mallet build. That's where it was.
Yeah.
So I went down there. I got so I had some oak for some European oak because the mother-in-law wants like a mantelpiece shelf making for where underneath the television with the DVDs and all that, the skybox and all that sits. So that's going for that. So while I was there, I picked up a piece of Paduke because I don't know what for, but I thought I might need some for something. Don't know. And then I got some walnut for that planter. But I also picked up these. Some nice little oak burrs.
Ah, lovely.
So the idea with these, I'm actually, because my mother has been asking for like a resin. God knows, she saw them when she was abroad somewhere. She wants like a resin serving board. So I've
Yep.
so what I'm going to do is we'll clean up the.
You've been volunteering.
So I'm going to clean up the oak burrs. Maybe so there are two. So those oak burrs were maybe saucer size, maybe a little bit bigger. So I'm going to cut each one into two. Almost put them in the corners of the actual mould, and then do like I don't know. I might do it as like a cliff and a beach type sort of landscape board. Don't know. So
yeah, that would work good with
yeah, I was thinking almost like use the burrs, obviously jagging out as the jagged rocks. You know, I might even go and get some like little miniature sea lions or birds or something that I can stick on. Do you know, make it into a bit of a, is it diorama they call it or something?
I don't know, but I've seen them online.
Do you know what
Some
I mean?
people do some great stuff with like. Yeah, I know exactly.
And maybe
what
some
you mean.
little shark things sticking out the water. You know, have some little sharks or something. You know, that just sort of sat there everywhere in the resin. So I thought that'd be cool. So yeah, that's another project to do this week, hopefully. But yeah, I've just been plodding on with the social media, trying to get things sort of organised and sorted again, and try and get the workshop.
Yeah, my YouTube seems to be ticking up. I haven't even put anything on YouTube probably a couple of months almost, and yeah, just like not much, just like a couple of subscribers each day.
See,
Which I was pretty happy with.
I found when I was doing the shorts every day through January, as I also uploaded them to YouTube, I was getting 1 or 2 a day. So I've started putting my long form content back up last week.
Yeah.
So I did the workshop tour that we did film while you were over here. That went up last week, and then yesterday the mallet build that we did together, or started together at the very least, went up.
Yeah.
Don't seem to. I mean, I'm I don't know, because I've not put anything up for such a long time. I was expecting, you know, for it not to do anything at all in like the first couple of days. But they're getting like 50. They had like 50 or 60 views in the first day, which for my small channel isn't bad to start with. Do you know what I mean? I was happy with that as a.
Take what you can
Yeah.
get.
But then neither of them are sort of like done after the first couple of days. It's just like nothing is happening. Yet the Rubio videos I've still put up last, I don't know, about 4 or 5 months ago. Because I did a little series on how to use all the different ones, all the different styles. Not a series, but you know, a few instructionals. I must average 50 views a day on the different Rubio videos still. Every single day,
Really?
all the way
That's
through.
good.
So they're slowly creeping up. But my subscribers definitely seems to have tailored off on YouTube. You know, I just seem to be stuck at that. I think it's like 1.4, 1400 on my YouTube. It's just sat there, stagnant. Instagram dropped another 100 last week. So need to build that back up.
Surprise.
So that's now at 47.90 or something now. So that takes my total to 703 weeks that it's been taken off my account for some reason.
Yeah, I think I dropped about 50 again. Don't know.
No, I've lost a little bit of faith with Instagram, to be honest, and obviously a lot of people have said the same. Because
Yeah, have you spoke to anyone else about it?
yeah, few people. Sam, say Richard Wyatt, he was losing like 1,000 a day. He's got a big account, Richard, over in the States. Sam Monkey Boy's Workshop was losing 400 a day. And I've seen other social, high level, good content creators, and they're all saying, dropping off loads, and they've got no idea why. So, don't know, but I'm gonna say a lot. But my engagement again seems to be alright. Posted yesterday afternoon. I put it on a bit late, to be honest, because I forgot what time it was, and I knew it probably wouldn't perform because I think I put it out a bit too late in the day. So I only put it out about 4 o'clock. Yeah. I seem to like to put my posts out at about 2 o'clock, 2 o'clock. I think they seem to do a lot better. But I forgot, and it went out about 4 o'clock. I forgot to schedule it. So I think I was on about 35 likes this morning. So a little bit lower than the general engagement recently. It's a little bit on the low side. But that's because I put it out too late. My own fault. TikTok engagement's definitely creeping up. I've noticed this last week.
How are you doing with followers on that? What you got?
That's gone up another.
What you got?
About 150 in the last week. So I'm on, I think, just shy of 1,300 at the minute.
Nice. So how long is that taking you?
4
to get
weeks.
That far? 4 weeks.
Well, yeah, just under the calendar. It was. So in fact, no, it's a calendar month, mate, because it was the 6th of January I started it. So we're on the 5th of February now. So a calendar month. On TikTok.
Yeah, so you got. So what you got? 4,700 on Instagram. Yeah. 1,300 on. So that's 6,000. And then another 1,000 on your YouTube. That's 7,400. So you got about 7,500 across all your platforms.
Across the 3, yeah.
It's
definitely creeping up. But yeah, I've noticed there's been quite a bit of engagement, like comments on my posts on TikTok. Some of them are the people. In fact, it's sort of funny though because there was one. I've got his name on Instagram now. But anyway, he's been commenting on my TikTok post yesterday and today, and like the same post was previously on Instagram ages ago. So it's funny how he's almost like he's never seen it on Instagram, but he's seen it now on TikTok. So he's commenting on that. So it just shows you that you don't always. It's quite easy to miss people's posts, can't it? Do you know what I mean? Generally.
Yeah.
Which I know.
Did you have a chat to the Rubio, like the social team at all?
No, that's being rescheduled for another week or two because they're not all based in the same place, so they have to do a video call, and obviously I've got to work it out around my workshop times as well. So we didn't manage that this week. But yeah, it's still got plenty to be working on. Got lots of projects.
Have you got what's your goals for the year? Like your social media goals? Have you got any written down?
I keep saying I really need to put them down on paper because I've not actually wrote them down yet. Because they've already changed a little bit as it is. So originally it was 10k on Instagram by sort of Easter. Because that was when I was having a massive growth. Sort of back end of December I was having a massive growth. So I thought that'd be quite achievable and realistic. But since losing 700 in a couple of weeks, I can't see that happening. I say I'm losing faith a little bit now with Instagram anyway. To be honest, it's all as you sort of mentioned. It's very much last week. It's very much business to business. So it's a different type of engagement. It's not a sort of it benefits you, but it doesn't benefit you at the same time. So I've done that. So I think I put on 3,000 on TikTok now by Easter. Since I started that in January, I thought that was quite a goal to set. That should be doing that. I made quite a few more goals about it was more about things I wanted to do this year, to a point, rather than just social goals. Because I think by creating, I think it's something you mentioned again last week, by getting an interesting build piece and then getting good content from that interesting build piece, you can build your following from that. Because obviously, if it's a good piece, an interesting piece, people will want to engage more, they like it more, which then sort of spreads it more, which helps. So one of my goals was to try Kumiko. So I'm doing that Kumiko piece. So hopefully I need to make a start on that today, tomorrow, to be honest. So making a start on that. One thing I'm very poor at, which is very funny, I'm not good at drawing. I'm very poor at drawing. It looks like a 3-year-old's drawn it. So I mean, I normally use SketchUp or Fusion or something for doing me, but I actually want to learn how to draw. So I want to learn how to do like 2 and 3 point perspective drawing. So I'm not saying that not as in the level of becoming an artist, but so I could draw, a different bits of furniture that I'm designing in different angles to make them all in perspective.
How are you going to do that? Take a course?
Either a course or
practice.
I'm going to see what's available on YouTube first, obviously.
Yeah.
And then if not, I'll do a course. I want to learn how to use Fusion 360 and SketchUp a lot better. I just want to sort of like maybe improve on my skill set a little bit more. Grow as a furniture piece maker. I feel then if I can do that and improve the process in which I do things, that everything else will sort of fall into place maybe a little bit better.
Yeah, definitely.
What goals have you got for this year? Yep. Or I mean, you maybe think about looking at agriculture, not killing plants, obviously, from the state of that thing behind you. So
it looks a little bit.
It just came into shot again, mate. I couldn't resist that. Sorry. So, what goals have you? What goals and sort of plan?
Maybe I'll prop him up a bit. There you go.
Still dead.
That's a bit better. I haven't really set any goals, to be honest. I should write some down, but more so just to find, obviously, make the best quality YouTube videos I can make and spend a lot of time making them. I just find my next project, I've got to find something I'm going to be enthusiastic about. Because obviously my table, I'm enthusiastic about it, but it takes a long time. Doing
it takes months, doesn't it, to get something like that done and finished.
Yeah, which is, and I kind of need 2 projects. I kind of need 2 projects I'm enthusiastic about. One big long build, and then sort of one infill build at the same time where I can always. But I just need to create something where I'm gonna be like, yeah, this is gonna look great. I'm psyched about it, and because I started building a cabinet sort of table, making legs, and I was like, I don't want to build it now. I stopped because I was like, I'm not interested in it.
It is.
I've got 4 nice legs sitting there, well, nice-ish, but I can't throw them away.
See, that's the problem though as well. Because if you're making something for the sake of making something, you're like, because I've actually got a floating bedside cabinet thing down there that I'm doing for another YouTube video, because I wanted to show about waterfalling, mitre joints and drawer boxes and everything else. And it's been sat there part done now, as you say, for about 3 months. It's boring. I do them all the time, so it's very, as you say, finding something you're enthusiastic about, or interesting, or whatever. I mean, like, the Kumiko little jigs I've done, I spent best part of the day making 3 jigs and realised I missed a jig out, so I've got to start making the other jig now. But just I really enjoyed making the jigs, and so I'm really looking forward to doing the process of the Kumiko, of making the panel.
Yeah.
Not so much about the rest of the building the planter, because that's just a bit boring to me. But the whole process is interesting, and as you say, I've got the table sat there, it's a bit. The next job's going to be flattening it with the router bit, boring. But then I can get to make the frame, which will be exciting. So yeah, I like your idea of, as you're saying. That's nice. One big project like you.
What do you mean? What do you mean frame for it?
Legs and the legs and the.
You mean?
So like the legs and the frame for it to sit on.
Oh yeah.
So when that's actually finished, what we're going to do is just basically screw it to the existing table we've got downstairs from underneath, through the old table, because it's going in the bin. So at least the tabletop can be used and it's out the way. And then I'll make the frame when I get a chance. Because I've got the frame and the chairs to make. Like the chairs are going to take me a couple of months to make, easy. So as you say, when you're making that, I'm really looking forward to making the chairs. But it's probably going to be a bit boring because it's going to take so long to make them. Do you know what I mean?
And then you're gonna build what, four of them
yeah.
at least?
I'm just going to do the 4. Originally I planned to do 6, but as you see, our house isn't massive. So I've sort of...
Yeah, and to keep the enthusiasm after number 4 is going to be like, oh, chair number 5. Yeah. How often do 5 people come?
Well, that's it. I mean, the only time we've ever had that many people, generally it'd be like Christmas dinner or something like that, which is,
yeah.
And it's only like once every 4 years someone will come here. So I think I've made the tabletop a little bit smaller than I'd wanted to anyway because of the timber was slightly damaged on the end that I didn't realise. I had to cut it all down slightly. So it's a little bit small. It's still a big table for 4 people. Easily fit 6 around it. So we just have to use one of these other chairs. But then it also gets hard though because I've got like so many little projects on the go. Like I've done some new pieces of pattern ply that I wanted to test and see what they look like.
Do you find you jump around a lot?
Do. So I've got 1-2 bits of pattern ply there that I've just tried new styles. I've got some other one there that's going to be for resin coasters. I've got some colour coat. I'm doing some plywood and resin coasters, other ones as well, and squares. I've got part of the workshop bench to finish. I've got the workshop bench to finish off and build. I've got another tabletop idea. I want to try some OSB and resin. I've got another river table there, coffee table I want to do, which I think I've got a seller for before I've even made it. So yeah, I find it very hard that I'm jumping around a lot because you've got that many things on. But at the same time, it's like you need to have several things on at the go at the same time because otherwise, if you're building a table that's taking, or a big build that's taking you 2 months, you've got to have small builds on at the same time to be able to film, or at least have them done to put the content out there. So I've got Instagram posts sat there now that I've already filmed. I've already got ready to go. They're not going to be going out for a few weeks yet because I don't need them to. I've got other stuff I can be doing. And it's just about...
Yeah, you kind of need more than that too, don't you? You need... Yeah.
But then, as you say, it's very hard to concentrate on the one piece. Because if you've got several pieces going, it's not so much enthusiasm can waver. One piece will take precedence because it's more fun than the other one. But then you might not put all your attention into one piece. So it might not be as good as it could be.
Yeah, cutting a few corners here and there just to speed up to get to the next one.
It's a hard balance and a fine balance for sure. I mean, especially if I have to go back onto site this week, which obviously, it needs to be done. What have you? Anyway, I got the thing, but then I'll be back in the same position as you, where you're trying to find how to make content around your full time, your day job. So if I'm not in the workshop making and creating, when do you do it? It gets very hard, doesn't it?
Very difficult.
Do you know what I mean?
Until you do it 4 times, you've got to hop along.
I mean, that's why I'm quite good that, well, not good, but that I struggle badly with insomnia. So a lot of the stuff I can get done in the middle of the night when it's quiet, like the editing and all that. I'll get done I'll get done at 2 o'clock in the morning, because if I'm not sleeping, I may as well be doing something. Because obviously, no neighbours are gonna like the road text going off, are they, at 2 in the morning? Do you know what I mean? So yeah, hopefully we'll be interesting to see where we're both up to. Say, say in 4 weeks' time, and see what of these projects we've spoke about today. See where we're up to them with with them all. Because obviously some things are.
Start finding our feet
I mean,
again.
obviously some things. I mean, obviously like you said about your surfacing your table it's not in your hands, is it? It's another contractor for doing it at the minute. So it'd be interesting to see though, without those sort of things, like do I get around to surfacing my table? Where do I get with all the rest of the stuff? And it's a.
Have you made a sled for
Yeah,
it
I've got. I've got a makeshift shed that I made out of some melamine ages ago, and I'm just gonna for about a week, and then a full day of sanding and polishing. Easy.
Yeah,
All right,
sweet.
mate.
All right, mate.
I think that's good. All right.
Thank you for listening, everyone. Thank you for watching. Please leave a comment below on Spotify if you are listening on that or any other platform.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Thank you, everybody. We shall see you same time next week.